Hello, everybody. Oh, that was a rough one. We are back. Whew, that was like a 30-minute downtime between matches. Jesus. Well, thank you all for sticking with me, all 230 of you who have elected to spend your Sunday watching some questionable Yu-Gi-Oh! Um, I have a stellar matchup for this next one. Now, unfortunately, I put in the chat some potential ones we could vote on. There are, of the undefeated decks, there are four Eldliches, a Magical Musketeer, an Invoked Mekk-Knight, an Adamancipator, a Lunalight OTK, and a Dinosaur. Unfortunately, the Musketeer and the Lunalight OTK are playing against individuals we have already had on camera, so I am bringing you the Invoked Mekk-Knight match. That is Sampai, the winner of Quarantine Series number 2, versus Dinosaur, Giant Skyhawk, the winner of the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Quarantine Series. It is a rematch of the final match of the last YCS here in round 4 at the undefeated tables. It's going to be Giant Skyhawk and Sampai, and I am going to see if I can find them real quickly, and we can jump in here. Yep, there they are, and I'll just let them know that I'm in, and we'll get right off to the races. These are two of, if not the, close to the most competent players in this. I promise I did not do this on purpose. It just worked out this way, but I could not be more happy to bring you this game. Alright, so not much relies on the die roll, of course. Giant Skyhawk wants to go first, Sampai wants to go second. You'd think with Dinosaur you would be interested in going second, but not Giant Skyhawk's build. It's on Solemn Judgments, it's on Survival Instinct, it's on a lot of cards that do nothing going second and set up extremely powerful popping plays going first. Skyhawk has opened with Soul Eating Overraptor, and that's the mark of a good Dinosaur player, just drawing Overraptor. Overraptor, just an incredibly powerful card. This card is not going to live forever, by the way, folks. It's enabled so many FTKs, so many powerful plays. The Dinosaur pool is so vast. Miscellaneous Source is so insane. This card, at some point in the near future, will go to 1. I guarantee you. Alright, so we're going to activate Miscellaneous Source's effect here for 2. That's going to banish these 2 to get a copy of Petit Pteranodon from deck. Then afterwards, Giant Rex will trigger, and we've seen this play before. Skyhawk will probably overlay for a Dolka. Now, unfortunately, the difference between this play in normal matches and this play in this matchup is that Dolka has less attack points than Invoked Mekk-Knight Purple. So Sampai does have an innate out to the card insofar as Sampai is able to just summon a beater and provoke the Pankratops from Skyhawk, netting him 1 fewer interaction against a deck that's made to chew through them. He's going to activate the Soul Eating Overraptor here, effect here, targeting the Miscellaneous Source in Graveyard and the Petit Pteranodon on field. The Petit Pteranodon will trigger. This is one of the very few cards that can get a Pankratops, so I think it is very likely that's what happens. Notably, this is a hand that has not played around Nibiru, so if Sampai has it, now is the time. Unfortunately, no, wait, I'm completely wrong. It's super played around Nibiru. There are only Dinosaurs on the field, and Miscellaneous Source is activated. What would a Dino Link be like? I don't know. Dinosaurs don't need a link. Pentasag, I guess? That'd be a good one. Alright, so we're going to overlay a Miscellaneous Source and a Giant Rex, it looks like, for a Logia. Oh my god, and Skyhawk not going for Pankratops here. Is he making Logia Dolka pass? That seems pretty broken. How's the weather player faring? Not well. Not well. God, I would love for Miscellaneous Source to get hit on the ban list. Yeah, that's my feeling about Dinosaurs too. All of their individual cards are so just strong, and while they aren't necessarily a huge problem this second, they might be in the future. So we're going to see an Infinite Impermanence leading Sampai's turn. That's going to bait the Logia activation, targeting the Logia, so you kind of do have to activate it here. And that's a problem because, unfortunately, if Sampai is able to set zones and then summon a big Bungus, they'll just be able to walk over the Dolka. The Crystron player won the Crystron match, yes. Satellar Knights, I read incorrectly. While the pilot originally went for Satellar Knight, they audibled onto Eldritch at the last second, and Eldritch has been doing quite good. So Sampai revealing Trickstar Light Stage is part of the invoked strategy out of this individual. They have talked extensively about how good this card is. Trickstar Light Stage lets you blank your opponent's spells and traps, especially if they're chainable. Like right now, it's prompting a Solemn Judgment out of Giant Skyhawk. It lets you search free special summons with which you can turn into columns. I mean, it's just a very powerful card in and of itself. And as we feared, there is a Mekk-Knight purple, and with nothing to protect this Dolka, Senpai is going to be able to walk over what would otherwise be two negations for Skyhawk. Can we watch them if it ends fast? Let me see where they are in terms of ranking. Right, so the Crystron player is still 1-2 after 3. So we're going to go for a Mekk-Knight Purple Nightfall, and then set a card. Wow, look, really this deck kind of lives and dies based on how many chainable traps they open, or, sorry, settable spells. And A-Lister the Invoker, the normal summon as well, going to result in an absolutely gnarly board. Going to be very difficult for Skyhawk to out. It looks like Verte Anaconda making its triumphant return here. Verte Anaconda was critical in Senpai's previous win in the finals of the last Cwarantine series, in which it was used as a super polymerization 2 games in a row. Verte Anaconda activating here for 2,000, and there it is! The new innovation in Invoked, a one-of Neos fusion for Rainbow Neos. I have loved this. It allows you to activate Neos fusion from deck, which of course doesn't matter. That's just free activation at the end of a combo, provided you have 2 monsters on your side of the field, and it has 3 extremely powerful effects, one of which shuffles all monsters your opponent controls into the deck, one that shuffles all spells and traps your opponent controls into the deck, and one that sends a card from the top of your deck to the graveyard to shuffle all of your opponent's graveyard into the deck. Now that is going to be game over against the Miscellaneousaurus deck. Whoa! Coom is right. This is such a nutty include. Oh my gosh. And if there's a deck that can make Verte Anaconda early and often, it is Invoked Mekk-Knight. Wow. So, unironically, I think you are going to start seeing this pretty often. Rainbow Neos has always been a card that's secretly been very strong. Neos Fusion has kind of been discounted because it's hard to activate it at the end of your combos or find it consistently. Predaplant Verte Anaconda has all but resolved that problem. So now, if you're playing any sort of deck, if you've got 2 errant monsters on your side of the field, end combo, you can just shuffle back your opponent's stuff and go for an OTK. Or if your opponent has powerful monsters in the graveyard, they're playing something like Orchist or Salamangreat or Dinosaur even, you can shuffle all that stuff back so they can't rebuild on their next turn. It might be very easy to yoink this deck list. I think this individual is probably going to go extremely far, and an Ash Blossom out of Senpai on the Fossil Dig. See, this is the problem with Dinosaur. It's just got so many targets for things like Ash Blossom. Like, for example, Skyhawk could very easily just fire off another Fossil Dig, normal summon an Overraptor, fire a Miscellaneousaurus, Lost World Overraptor. I mean, the hands are so mutable, and individual negation like Ash Blossom is good insofar as it stops one of them, but it won't be able to stop Skyhawk's turn. I think. You know, I might be wrong. Is 3 Garnets worth it, though? Not really. None of those cards are Garnets. Neos Fusion doesn't necessitate that it happens from the deck, I believe. It's a hand or deck, so if you end up drawing them, like, who really cares? Whoa! And Skyhawk says, you know what? You know what, actually? I think if I do nothing, you can't summon any Mekk-Knights, and passes turn! Senpai is gonna pass turn again! Oh, they found A-Lister the Invoker off the top. Okay, well, that's going to unlock the hand. Otherwise, man, this would have been hilarious. Yeah, unfortunate. Wouldn't have expected Sampai to be the first one to find a normal summonable monster. Giant Skyhawk, of course, is playing the higher density of those, but his patience not really paying off here, as Sampai is going to be able to make at the very least a Makaba. Whoa! Mekk-Knight with no set! The most powerful Mystic Mine is the one that isn't on field. And we're going to DD Crow in response to the invocation. Maybe we won't have to deal with Makaba at all. I think Skyhawk having the correct read that, yeah, that spell's going to fizzle if we banish that A-Lister the Invoker. If Sampai had another A-Lister the Invoker in hand, wouldn't they have summoned that last turn? Unfortunately, DD Crow isn't fantastic here. Sampai can just add the A-Lister the Invoker back. But it is going to fade an entire turn, and Skyhawk's going to be able to pop off if they can find something worth normal summoning. Well, a terraforming is quite good. I think we're likely to see the Dragonic Diagram if this resolves. No, the Lost World. Okay, what do you got? I'm trying to imagine what Skyhawk's hand is, and the only things I could come up with was a hand loaded with babies, but they're not getting the Dragonic Diagram. Are they even on the Dragonic Diagram this time? I guess that's possible. Can Mystic Mine be banned already? Yes. What is the weirdest deck still in? Lightning Storm out of Skyhawk. I think Skyhawk was planning on his opponent potentially going first. Sampai has done that in the past versus Skyhawk specifically, but yeah, I don't know. Normaling Lost World here. If any deck can OTK, it's probably Dino. Let me actually see what the most powerful deck still undefeated is. There's a lot of weird decks that are still in. The weirdest deck undefeated has got to be Magical Musketeer. Yeah, not close. Magical Musketeer is undefeated. Jeff on Barrier Statue Stun is 2-1. Stevie Blunder is 2-1 on Adamancipator Gem Knight, FTK. Kurakaze is XO with Lunalight OTK. So we did have the Overraptor. It's going to come down, and of course, we are going to go ahead and start firing effects. We're going to activate the effect of Overraptor in order to add an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno to hand. Oh, this hand must have multiple Miscellaneousaurus in it, or at the very least one. There's a DD Crow out of Sampai, and that's really, really powerful. So denying the Miscellaneousaurus in graveyard not only prevents Skyhawk from extending, but also means he's going to have to go to the battle phase to trigger this Lost World protection, because Overraptor has to have a Dinosaur in graveyard in order to swap out for. Why isn't that on stream? That's because we've already seen the person they're playing against. Don't worry, those two decks we'll probably catch up with in the next two. If you're asking why Barrier Stun isn't on stream, we watched an entire game of Barrier Stun, and it was not entertaining. So Skyhawk just deciding here what he wants to send to the graveyard in replacement. It's likely going to be a Baby Ceratosaurus, and the Baby Ceratosaurus is going to be able to get something. What happened to Volcanics? It is yet to win a game. Volcanic, it was very sad. Volcanic is playing triple Barrier Statue of the Inferno. Its first round opponent, Infernoid. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and destroy this Baby Ceratosaurus, and then the Baby Ceratosaurus effect is going to trigger. That's going to allow Skyhawk to summon a Dinosaur from deck, but a little one. Oh, is it just the finals in Swiss? Oh, this right here? Yeah. This is currently the top match in Swiss, but we're going to do a top cut to top 8. The dirty secret is that both these players are really good, and honestly, are probably still very likely for top 8, even if they lose this game. This is round 4, Bear. Alright, looking like the Baby Ceratosaurus is going to tag into a Petit Pteranodon. Not usually what you see happen, but the Soul Eating Overraptor hasn't yet used its effect, so it'll be able to tag from the Petit Pteranodon into a Baby Ceratosaurus, and then trigger the effect of the Petit Pteranodon in graveyard. That's going to get a Miscellaneousaurus, and remember, we haven't used the effect of Miscellaneousaurus yet. I wonder how many babies Skyhawk is on. Alright, looks like we are overlaying for a rank 4 here. That's a Dolka. Dolka's extremely powerful. And do we have two in graveyard? We don't. Now, unfortunately, this Baby Ceratosaurus isn't going to be destroyed at end phase because, bad news for Skyhawk. It was summoned off of Oviraptor's effect, not Miscellaneous Sources, so he won't be able to tag into something at end phase. But if it is ever destroyed on his opponent's turn, it is likely going to turn into a Oviraptor, so we can trigger it twice. An Instant Fusion coming out of Sampai. Ah, man. I mean, usually you want to use Instant Fusion here to go into something like a Thousand Eyes Restrict, but of course Sampai can't target any of the dinosaurs on Skyhawk's side of the field while he has a token. Any of the monsters, period. He'll then go into an A-lister in order to get the token off so they can target the Dolka with a Mind Control, and uh-oh, this is quite bad. From here, we'll go into an A-lister, the Invoker, which will add an Invocation to hand, and this might just be the end of the game. This is pretty powerful. Alright, here goes Terraforming. Are there any Auroradon Turbo decks? There are two. One is Karakuri and one is Machina. Magical Meltdown for another A-lister, and I think this is likely it. Yeah, we're going to see the Verte Anaconda. We could Super Poly here. That would be funny, if nothing else. We'll Invocation at the very least. And there's got to be a light in the graveyard. There was a Cyberus Gardna at some point. Yep, there it is. So we'll go into a Macabre. And next we can activate Verte Anaconda to go ahead and get a Neos to our side of the field, shuffle this monster, and Bob's your uncle. That's the end of the game. Alright, we're going to activate the Predaplant Verte Anaconda, and it is Neos Fusion time. Skyhawk, do you have an Ash? It doesn't matter because Evilzar Dolka is on Sampai's side of the field. Alright, there is the Neos. Let's fire off the Neos. I wonder what will happen. What? Oh my god. So you clicked shuffle all monsters your opponent controls back into the deck? But it counted the Dolka? Wait, excuse me? The Dolka counts! That's so funny! Alright, so that pumps this guy to 5, and he does have the second A-lister, so that is still going to be exact lethal, and Sampai with a really, really impressive showing. I mean, that was not close! This is the same way that the previous finals ended. Giant Skyhawk, after an incredible showing in Swiss, just getting completely blown out of the water. It doesn't matter because Dolka can't attack due to mind control. Oh, come on. You can't admit that's an interesting interaction. I don't know if it's how it works, so make sure to @AlphaCretin as soon as possible. We have gotten a ton of match results in already, so I think it is pretty likely there's going to be a very small amount of downtime between now and the next round. No promises, though. I'm going to port you over to the NCS again. It will not be as long as last time, I promise. See you soon.